Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. It's a Wednesday, the 30th of April, 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here with another edition of the show. Our gratitude we go to the Most High God for the very privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into a panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Alleged 12-year-old marriage at Nungwa, AG orders investigation. Shraj 2023 brief. Children's cases top complaints. Maiden regional sanitation ranking out May. WASI registration fees remain free. GS Director General. The Ghanaian Times. WASI registration for free SHS students. Government absolves fees for all. GS urges parents, guardians not to pay. Parliament approved 6.87 billion for NHIA to cover dialysis, promotive health check, and mental health. CRI leads campaign to dissolve marriage in court between 12-year-old girl and 63-year-old man. Mixed reactions, great increase in cost of Ghanaian passport acquisition. Daily Guide. Mad rush for a Jisu seat. Passport fees up. Gold exhibition opens in Germany. Abolish traditions that endanger children. CRI. Baumia comments IGP. The New Crusading Guide. Anas Tiger Eye deny accepting $100,000 bribe from Kwesi Nyantichi. Their former GFA boss to report lawyer Kwame Jan to General Legal Counsel. I never collected $100,000. Lawyer Kwame Jan cries over Nyantichi's accusations. Uproar over 12-year-old girl's marriage. Arrest Nungwa Bobu Ulomo. Occupy Ghana. Muslim could lead Ghana to be better. ICGC pastor. Baumia hails Dampari for police professionalism and discipline. Nyantichi peddles lies. Accuses lawyer Kwame Jan of collecting $100,000. KGL Foundation brings Easter joy to Odmina with food drive. The Insight. Baumia caught in his own snare. MP drags President Kufuor to UN Human High Commission. And others were refusal to assent anti-witchcraft bill. There is a Human Rights Commission, UN Human Rights Commission or Human High Commission. Peace Watch says claims IGP deployed officers to arrest and kill Usubempa are false and dangerous. GDLA President Blaster Equal to over comments questioning Gadangbe Secretariat. Transforming lives through affordable housing to the lower bracket in Africa, core goal of Afro-Arab Group, says Ambassador Alhaji Salamu Amadu as he grabs award. The Herald. Exiting GMPC CEO's last-minute acts cost stare. Ghana's passport fees cheapest in West Africa. Minister Mahama spanks Napo over disrespectful Domso comment. Daily Graphic and others collapse under Kufuor, going on sale with assets to cronies. Workers to be laid off. Kokobo Director schools age on fertilizer use. Nungwa married girl child's age goes up mysteriously from 12 to 13 to 16 years. The Informer. NPP running mate slot. Faceless group unmasked. Waliwali Youth Warriors does not exist. I'll zoom into action. Baumia vows as he kicks against one-term Mahama. Stop the Kokofu jokes. Ashanti youth advise against running mate lobby. Youth will dominate my government and cabinet. Mahama. Disbursement of common fund. MMDC is unhappy with Natoshi. Call for probe. Hope for teenagers. Drive to inspire Africa launched. The Inquisitor. Load shedding timetable. NDC's Donko settles matter. Says it's not Energy Minister's responsibility. Over 600,000 nurses have left Ghana since August 2023. Noise pollution. Laboni residents spit fire. 355 Lounge, Ace Nightclub, Zen Garden accused. Waliwali NPP youth organizer shames scam youth warriors group. Let us see ourselves as one in humanity. FAM to Muslims. The Daily Statesman. Muslim can lead and Ghana could be better. ICGC pastor. Mahama is bringing old solutions. Drive to inspire Africa, ready to impact the next generation. Baumia unveils second model police station. The Daily Searchlight. Nkusie takeover multi-million-dollar market project. Kumasi Krofrom. Dagbon will protect green Ghana trees. Yana assures government. Slaughter on the highway, 27 killed. Western region roads in 2 months. Dagbon will protect Ghana's trees. Yeah, now, okay. You repeated both headlines. Child marriage is archaic, illegal and abhorrent. Occupy Ghana. The Ghanaian publisher, the Baumia Running Saga, Region or Religion. Pastor Kujo berates Christian president rhetoric. Land, major livelihood source for most citizens, Abu Jinapo. Punch. Mobo Asantini in Aguna royal family of Semfi Christ. Asantini shows up at cleanup exercise heralding his 25th anniversary. MP for Jurapaka sought for the construction of male and female wards for high-end polyclinic. Let's stand by Speaker, minority MPs to fight against LGBTQ+. Takwa and Swayam NDC MP hopeful to Church of Pentecost. Dakar Times. Parliamentary diplomacy, a beacon of hope, Speaker Bagbin. Help build a peaceful Ghana, urges Muslim and Christians. So Farouk Aliyu Muhammad urges Muslims and Christians. Arnold Dompre hits hard at Alan over vote for a Christian president comment. Ghana failed on Nkrumah's vision. Mrs. Efua Ansre. Madina MP petitions CID over child marriage. The custodian. Don't vote for Muslims. Desperate Alan. Muslim leader could be better for Ghana. ICGC senior pastor. Baumia charges NPP for 2024 victory. Soko project is a game changer. Obi Amwa. Let's build strong party machinery to break the eight. Dr. China. Abu Jinapo opens ultramodern office for Greater Accra Lands Commission. The new finder. Zipline delivers 18.6 million items and vaccines, saving thousands of lives in emergency situations. ICGC pastor dispels religious bias in Ghana's leadership. Passport fee hike sparks outcry. Minister inaugurates Greater Accra Regional Lands Office. Economy Times. Bank of Ghana hopeful of CD rebound. Current account improves. Records a surplus of 0.46 billion. Tax amnesty promise. Finance experts school businesses not to be too expectant. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning, I don't even know how to introduce him. Huh? Charlie, injunction. Okay, but what is not in doubt is the fact that he's a member of parliament for the Efija Kwabre North constituency, and is also the party's candidate, the MPP's candidate for the 2024 parliamentary elections in the same constituency. But what is hanging and not setting is the fact that he's a deputy energy minister designate. He's gone through his vetting, but the priorities of the past no go. Whether we will take the designate off and make it substantive, we await Speaker Bagbin. So I'm here with the Honorable Collins Adumako Mensah. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
All right, okay. We're expecting the MP for the Odo constituency, the Honorable Edwin Nilante Vanderpoy, to join us here on the program. Why are you in white? You've had a call from the speaker?
No, Randy, the speaker has not called. The speaker has not called.
Or the old man has given you assurance that the speaker has given an assurance.
A friend called me, ask for the minister, you will chop.
Even if it be for 6 months.
When we entered parliament,
Yes.
then this whole issue about car loans came up.
Yeah.
And I mean, those of us who had just entered parliament were like, you get to attend this whole discussion about Carlo
has come up again.
Then it moved to Esgracia. Hey, now it cut with a 10. Now they mention my name for minister.
Trouble.
Trouble.
Oh.
But it shall come to pass.
It shall come to pass.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so if you're looking for a toothpaste that will take care of all the family and save money, the recommended family toothpaste is Kel 360 toothpaste, and this is approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. Kel 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. Kel 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using Kel 360 toothpaste. Kel 360 toothpaste brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint, gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use Kel 360 toothpaste. Kel 360 toothpaste is another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, and is available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864 798. Kel 360 toothpaste, happy smile. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. And the pains of climbing the stairs, especially when you're not exercising, could be challenging irrespective of your age. But you need not worry any longer because lifts and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumono, or just call them on 0200-535-515, or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movements. All right, so we'll wait, whilst we wait for the Member of Parliament for the Dodo to join us. Let's start off. So this, the decision of Parliament, the Speaker, on the approval of ministers. I mean, we know that we've had the Supreme Court not granting the injunction, and therefore removing the impediments that the Speaker spoke about. What is next?
Randy, good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers. It's been a while we met. As you rightly put, when the Speaker read his epistle, as I'll put it, on the day we rose, one of the key reasons he gave for not proceeding with the approval process was the fact that he had received some letter from the court indicating that a certain process had started, had begun at the Supreme Court. And so, on the basis of the fact that the President had already written a letter informing him that he is unable to assent to the bill pending the conclusion of the matter in court, he was basing his decision on that particular premise to also say he was not prepared to proceed. Now, as you put it, the court has dismissed the injunction application by my very good friend, Dafia Mekbo, paving way for the Speaker to continue the process. But our practice is that when Parliament is on recess, the Speaker must reconvene through a communication to the general public, inviting us to come back. We are yet to receive that communication from the Speaker, informing us of the exact date he wants us to reconvene. But as you know, our standing orders also envisaged that in the situation where the Speaker was not reconvening Parliament, I think 1/3 or so members of Parliament can trigger Parliament to reconvene to consider urgent matters of government business. I have received hints of that process being triggered if indeed the Speaker after some time, refuses to recall Parliament. But Randy, as you know, currently we don't have a substantive Minister of Health.
Explain something to me. Parliament itself was going to go on recess that day.
That day.
And when Parliament goes on recess, with this recess, you're going to reconvene when? Or resume sitting when?
Normally, with this recess, I think almost 2 months.
2 months,
Yes,
okay. Now, so the issue of urgent business will have to do with approval of?
Approval. I think before we rose, there were 3 things on the table. The approval of ministers, the IDA facility, the 150 million.
We were told that you were not ready with that.
We were. I'm on the finance committee. In fact, we had presented the reports to the floor, and some issues were raised on the floor, especially with members from the Works and Housing Committee, who raised some issues. So it was referred back to the finance committee to engage the finance committee and leadership of the Works and Housing Committee. And I think the understanding was that we were to go to see some of the projects that had been executed with the initial 200 million that was approved, and get ourselves abreast with the situation on the ground before we proceed with this. And I knew there were discussion between the leadership of Parliament on that particular one. With the tax exemptions, that I knew there was a standoff because the minority had indicated that they were not going to support that particular motion. And so I knew we were going to have challenges with the tax exemptions. By the IDA facility, we had gone through a certain process, discussed it, and then requested for some documentations from the ministry, which they had provided. What was left was for us to visit the various sites for us to be convinced of how the initial 200 million was used. So these were the 3 things: the approval of the ministers, the IDA facility, and the tax exemption. The tax exemption I knew was going to be a difficult challenge because I knew we had not reached a consensus on that. So these were the 3 things on the table. Yes, and as I said, now we are in the hands of the Speaker. And if it becomes difficult for the Speaker to recall, then other clauses may be triggered to bring members back to the House to consider urgent business. Okay.
So the MP for Dudu has joined us and is in full regalia this morning. The Honorable Edwin Nilante van der Poel is ready.
Randy.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, bro. Good morning, Syria.
Randy, I thought that my brother will come here in sackcloth.
Sackcloth?
Yes.
Oh, he's celebrating the fact that the Supreme Court has paved the way for him to be approved.
Oh, we didn't have any problem with him. He's one of the nicest guys. So that's why I was expecting him by this time to have made a comment about the misbehavior of his colleague Minister for Agriculture, Brian Champong.
About the handing over?
Yes. So because he's a gentleman, he's somebody who we all admire because of his relationship. And I expect that, you see, for our democracy, this our constitutional democracy to thrive, we must be checkmating ourselves. We should have the courage to tell our colleagues when they go wrong that this is not good, this is not right. I have seriously, Brian is my friend, my very good friend.
Okay.
We share a lot in common. I've all grown up in Accra Central together. You know, when we meet, we speak typical Ghana, me and him. Me, Brian, Patrick Boama, Achampong, the Eastern Regional Minister, OPK, we all, James Ajeni Mboatin, you know, Felix Owusu-Kwakye. We all grew up in the same area. You know, so sometimes when friends of ours, we find ourselves in such positions, I expected a bit of, let me say, discipline and tact in his presentation. Yes, sometimes on political platforms we are taken by the gods of the funds that we are addressing. But then when you assume a position of a minister, then you become a different person altogether. And Randy, you see, this is something you did last year, and people criticized it. People felt it was uncalled for, it was not right, it was not healthy for our democracy. When, as a friend, when you make such a comment on a political platform, when I meet you, how do you want me to relate to you? When you are telling me in the face that no matter what you do, I will not hand over to you. When I have happily handed over to you when it was your turn, then you expect me to take it by force. You see, ABBEY Fuseni says that when a handshake goes beyond the elbow, it ceases to be a handshake. It becomes a shove. You understand? It's not a good idea. And with Brian Champon, coming from what was said about you during the Ayawaso West War gone, it is very unexpected of him to have continued in this thing. I know some people, the reason I'm saying this to my friend, and I know somebody like him who would never, with the little I've known about him, the little that we have shared, I know he would never condone such a thing. He would never say such a thing. But then I expected that some of them, like him, Patrick Boama, you know, those that I know who are very friendly, very, when it comes to, you know, they've not taken politics as life and death matter. I expected to at least call and say, Charlie, bro, in the no Dubai, it's good. When we do that, then we'll be helping our democracy to grow, because we'll then be peer, you know, we'll have a peer mechanism on ourselves. I've been very, very angry. I tried reaching him yesterday to tell him that someone like me in Nilante, I've taken his words for his word, and when it comes anywhere around me, I'll be careful. Yes. Randy, but if you tell me that when you get me, you will kill me, I'm not going to.
But to the extent that
when I'm greeting you, I'll be having a dagger behind me.
To the extent that you say that this is not the first time.
Yes.
Could it then not be an issue of it not being just
Randy, no,
of the calf, but it being something that
Randy, did
he
you
really
listen to
means?
him? Did you listen to him? He said last year I came here, I said something.
Okay.
Some people were not happy about it, but today I'm going to repeat it. Okay. Out of the abundance of the heart proceeded out of the mouth.
So he said what?
He said whether the NDC likes it or not.
Yes.
Whether the NDC and Jomama likes it or not.
Yes.
No matter what they do, we will not hand over to them today, we will not hand over to them tomorrow.
In his capacity as what?
Well, that is what I'm saying, in his capacity as what? And you see, people like him should understand that when this country go in flames, it will not discriminate. It will affect all of us. As young men who have been given the privilege to govern this country, we must protect it for the posterity. Because some people have sacrificed for us to enjoying what we are enjoying today. And as such, we must do everything possible to also protect it for our children and children's children for the future. This is the only country we have. So far, some people have struggled, some people have shed their blood to sustain the peace that we are enjoying. It is only incumbent upon us. When we go over our national anthem, the Akan version, it says, so it is only a right for us that we will take it upon ourselves to build upon the peace and rather improve upon what our fathers and grandfathers have left for us. So we should not be the ones who will be stoking the fire, and we should not be the ones who will be tearing the country apart. And somebody like him, with this huge investment in Rock City, he should be the last person to be thinking about this country going the way he's talking about, because when it goes out there, it is your property that will also be affected, because you won't have the right. Nobody will have the opportunity to enter Rock City. Rock City will be an empty place. So he must be guarded. Seriously, he must be guarded. And if he had picked my phone yesterday, I would have said these same things I'm saying to him. It's very, very uncalled for and unwarranted. He marred the whole thing that the MPP did in Kwawu. And he should take a cue from the NDC program. everybody who spoke there spoke about what will make the Ghanaian vote for us to win the 2024 elections. He can comment. That's his senior brother. He can.
You won't hand over.
Randy, first of all, it's true. Brian is my senior brother. When he sees me, he calls me on daddy. You know, he's a per second.
Oh yeah.
So I have a very, very good relationship with him. My little knowledge of Brian and my conversation with him does not suggest to me a person who would want this country to go into flames. I don't think so.
Have you watched?
I'm coming.
Okay. No, I was just asking.
Yes, I don't think he's somebody who would wish that this country bursts into flames. Randy, we all love our peace. Over the weekend, I was in my constituency. I couldn't go to Kweo because I also organized a unity walk.
Oh, I see.
In my constituency. It was very peaceful. Right after we had sat down to eat with constituents, very peaceful atmosphere. And this is an atmosphere I would like to enjoy for the rest of my lifetime.
Did you address them?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell them that whether your mama and the NDC likes it or not?
Okay, so that's why you asked a very interesting question as to what exactly he said. And I would have wished that it is played.
Don't worry.
I would have wished that it is played for all of us to watch.
I will even play the last year one.
Okay, he said
they say he made reference to last
he said
year.
he would not hand over to John Mama and the NDC because they will not win. And that's why I'm saying I wish that we play the tape. Maybe what I heard was different. But let's watch. If you don't win an election,
but if somebody is not going to win an election, what will occasion you not handing over?
That's what I'm saying, that if somebody wins an election, my senior brother Brian has absolutely no basis to say that
all I'm saying is that if you know that a party is not going to win an election, what will inform you? Mount a stage and tell people that whether
they like it
or not, you will not hand over to them. And then you say that he added that because they won't win.
That's what he said. So I'm saying that Randy,
what kind of kindergarten this is that?
So maybe my understanding is that to him, he believes very strongly that our party.
We must try and help. You see, we must try and help people.
Yes.
No matter. I mean, Brian and I are cool.
Yes.
You know, but we must try and help people to stop being reckless in their public speaking.
Yes, Randy, what I'm saying that
because you see,
he could have put it differently.
Because you see, but you see, we take too many things for granted in this country. I'm telling you, we take too many things for granted in this country. If we were to face reality about this country, and I keep referring to this thing that the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams once said, that any country that has a growing population of people who have nothing to lose is on the precipice. You know, and so sometimes, you know, especially when, look, it doesn't matter whether you support the government or not. The truth will matter about the economy. The truth will matter about how decisions that have been taken have affected people. How people who were supposed to be middle income people have lost that status when you go into the regime of investments and all those things. And so when you are part of government and you mount a stage to speak, at least you must be a bit sensitive. You don't speak as if, I mean, you must be a bit sensitive. Yes, it is an election. Irrespective of what anybody thinks about the performance of the government, you cannot say that the government should not put itself up for an election. But in doing so, you ought to also be mindful about the sensibilities of people. Many of these people, they probably voted for you in the previous election or previous elections. And today, they find themselves at the worst point of decisions that have been taken whilst you are in charge. And so when you begin to speak about elections and make some of those comments, at least be a bit circumspect and be a bit, be a bit considerate in how you say some of these things. We'll finish this and then peace council will come and say we admonish everybody to be temperate with your language. You the same people, you go and stand at churches and say that Ghana is the only country we have. We all should, watch how we talk. We should not inflame passions. We should not do this. And then when you go and stand on campaign platforms, then...
And you see, Randy, sometimes the reason why these things become worrying is because many of our followers will not sit down and critically analyze the way you are doing.
Let's watch both videos. Let's watch both videos. All right, so those are the two videos.
And I think viewers now understand where I was coming from. That was what I heard. But I agree with my brother. Not everybody there will capture his message just like I'm doing here. I mean, it comes across as we are ready
but
for
especially
any
when
eventualities.
when he the speaker,
yes,
relates what he's saying this year to what he said last year, which drew some criticism, and you now listen to what he said last year, and you link the two. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying.
This cannot be.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody
responsible speech.
Yes, misinterpret it differently, and act in a certain way. So I agree with my senior colleague that sometimes maybe this could have been said differently. Because if you do a direct translation, he says, "I don't believe the ND is going to win the election, and if you don't win the election, we don't hand over power to you." But
that's what he said this year.
This year, but I'm saying the way it is said. Somebody in there might look at it differently and then act in a certain way that will be troublesome to everybody. So I agree with my senior brother that yes, probably he could have sent the same message of NPP winning the election. And on that basis, we remaining in power. And so we are not going to hand over power to any other person.
Bro,
you
see, my worry is that, recently, one of our senior colleagues made a statement as soon as his attention was drawn to it. As a man, he came out and apologized. When you said something last year which didn't seem right to people, there's actually no need for you to come and emphasize what you said last year with a sort of caveat to explain. What I expected him to do, because last year when he did it, he never came out to apologize.
No, but his statement this year does not suggest that he thinks he made a statement that he ought to have apologized for.
That is the issue.
I think what he's done this year is to try and explain or rationalize what he said last year. Although when you watch the two videos, he said two different things.
Yes. You see, this thing is that it's almost 4 days today. Some people, including the ABBEY chief himself, have criticized what he said. They've made a comment about what he said.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I expected. And then the Obomi,
sometimes you need to also put this in context. If you relate it to, let's say, Ayasu Westwogo.
That's where I was coming to.
That background and all those things.
Yeah, so,
you can't be speaking like this.
Yes. And you see, this thing is following you, whether you like it or not. It will follow him forever. Also was well gone. When it came to vetting, this was one of the most controversial issues that came up. Look at the banter between him and our leader, Ato Forsen, on this particular issue. So, from that level, he must be circumspect when he is speaking. And I expected that after he has spoken, 2 or 3 people may have drawn his attention to what he said. Come out and apologize. Say, oh, this is the way I wanted to say it. Unfortunately, I didn't carry the message right. It makes you a man. It makes you much more respected. But when you are quiet about it, you continue to hold yourself thinking that every Ghanaian will be able to decipher what you said the way you and you are analyzing now. It becomes problematic. And that's why I'm saying that he has assumed a position which is very sensitive as a minister of state. And you know, people have even before his appointment as minister of state, there was speculation about he going to the minister of national security and all those things. And people raised so many issues about it. And one thing I want to say, see, we want us to have this election in a very peaceful atmosphere. But as soon as you start beating drums like this, you get the other side to also come out of that posture of let's have peace and all, and prepare. That's what I'm saying. Someone like me, from today when I'm greeting him, I'll greet him one hand and have one hand behind me. You understand? Because I'm not seeing him having come out of that posture of last year. I will embrace you because I know who you are. Because you've not given me any cause to mistrust you or think otherwise about the way you relate to me, even at the epic of elections. You understand? But with him, every step of the way, from today, we shall be monitoring him. Every step of the way, we shall be monitoring him. Every move he makes, we shall be monitoring him. We are not going to allow him to go as free as somebody like you, because there won't be any cause for me to even doubt you. Because in your character and your everything, you don't seem to assume that level of violence, that level of, you know, let me say, animosity towards your opponent. But with him, having regard for what happened in Ayasu West Wagon and all those things, and what he said last year and what he has said today, we'll be very, very careful with him from now going.
All right, okay, so both of you are MPs, and there's the vexed issue of statutory funds, especially District Assembly Common Fund. Yeah. I'll come and pick your views. You are part of the assembly.
Yes. And I'm the ranking member local government, which is responsible for.
Okay, all right. Okay. But I want to deal with energy first, and then we'll come back to this one. Okay. Now, the Institute of Energy Security has been speaking about some of the statements being put out by ECG. I mean, one of the things I heard was that Ghana has a stable national power supply. And I live in my house. And look, between 8 p.m., at least for the last 1 month or so, between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., it can go on and off maybe about 3 times. And I'm not talking about the spells where it goes off for 10 hours, 12 hours. But between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., it can go off about 3-4 times.
I experienced it.
I've had to buy UPS for some gadgets because I had lost some gadgets. And I was then advised that, look, it is the
fluctuation.
Yes. And so you needed that in addition to the other ones that you have secured. But then I heard that there's something called stable national power supply here in this Republic of Ghana. And incidentally, I didn't read that from GridCo, I read it from ECG. But the Institute of Energy Security has been speaking a lot about this. Fortunately, we have the executive director of the Institute, Nana Mwesi, the 7th, now joining us by Zoom to speak about this issue and some demands that they are making as far as the players in the energy sector are concerned. Good morning, Nana. Okay. All right. So I'm sure that we've lost and I'll get him back, and then we'll get onto this issue. So let me come back on the issue of the the statutory funds, especially a district assembly common fund, and then when we get an Amwesi, we'll break on it and then go back on a particular issue. Now, I've even seen a publication is also on the front page of the Informa, disbursement of common fund. MMDC is unhappy with Natoshi call for probe, and you, Nilante, I've seen at least on 2 occasions where you have either issued a presser or addressed the media in Parliament, and you have held the finance ministry rather responsible, and you've spoken about, I think, delay in the release of funds and all that. What's the issue?
Well, Randy, you see, under normal circumstances, we shouldn't have a problem with the issue of especially the District Assembly's Common Fund, which is a statutory fund. It's backed by the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. It says not less than 5% of total revenue should be remitted to the District Assembly's Common Fund for transmission to various MMDAs for the development of the districts. It's all works down from...
Clarify something for me. Is it total revenue of the preceding year or the year, the actual year?
Total revenue of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, under normal stagnation, what it means is that today, if the total revenue of Ghana is X amount of money, 5% of that X amount of money should go to a district assembly.
So that would be difficult.
That would be difficult to do. So we've accepted a convention that it's done in a quarter.
Okay.
So the Minister of Finance will put together the total revenue of the country.
So let's say quarter one.
Quarter one.
We had X revenue.
Yes.
And therefore,
5%.
by the law, 5% must go to the district.
Not less than 5%.
So it could be more.
Okay. And during President Kufuor's time, it went to 7%.
Okay.
During President Tamil's time, it went to 7%, sometimes even 10%.
Okay. So it's a minimum of 5%.
Minimum of 5%.
Okay. Right.
And you remember, and this, under normal circumstances, because of the way we have, shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem for us to compute and to be able to transfer without the, because right now, because of the way we have our financial system, and it becomes easy for you to be able to determine possibly how much revenue Ghana has made on a day. The only one we always have problem with when it comes to a Minister of Finance was the fact that when they are calculating total revenue, they exclude proceeds from our mineral reserves.
But that's not revenue.
Well, we don't know. Cocoa like this, you know, they go for the syndicated loan and they sell and all those things. So they don't add 5% of the revenue we make from cocoa receipts to the total national revenue. They don't add the oil receipts to the national revenue. So it's been a problem for us as committee members to always fight the Minister of Finance that when we say total revenue, it does not only mean tax revenue. Total revenue go beyond tax revenue. But then they calculate the 5% only on tax revenue. So always there is a shortage to Ghanaians through the District Assembly's Common Fund. That is one leg. The other leg is a timeous payment or transfer of this money. We think that it should be easy for the Minister of Finance today to be able to calculate how much revenue Ghana has made in a day, in a month, in a quarter. So why should the Minister of Finance always wait for sometimes 3 quarters, 4 quarters, without paying and remitting the District Assembly's Common Fund for it to also be able to remit the District Assemblies? And Randy, development emanates from the districts. As we sit here, Randy, for the past 7 years or so, if you go to almost all the districts, major development projects are the ones that are being undertaken by MPs. MPs. I'm being frank with you. You could go to a district, almost all the development projects.
So just hold on. We'll come back and deal with this issue. But I'm told that we have Nana Mwesi the 7th joining us via phone. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning, Randy. Thanks for having me this morning.
Right. I hope that you're doing well.
We're good.
Okay.
Great.
So I've seen a statement from your outfit, and you describe the assurance of a stable national power supply by the ECG as scandalous. What brings you to this conclusion?
Well, first, Randy, we've been concerned about the inconsistencies in ECG's communications. You remember when this doom source started so much around mid-February, the ECG came out for an excuse that we're about 630 transformers nationwide that are overloaded, for which reason we must expect some doom so. Then, over the last few days, we've also seen indication from ECG that Gridco has outages at some bulk supply points, for which reason some parts of a localized area might have to go out. Then, last 3 days, we saw a statement that ECG posted that we have a stable national power supply seeking to equate that with a stable national grid. And we're saying that they must not confuse the two. They have different meanings. A stable national power supply refers to that reliable, consistent power supply from, let's say, a distributor to consumers, and that there are no outages. But let's ask ourselves, do we have outages or not? And so we know very well that we have outages right from the beginning of the year to today. The ECG cannot boast of a stable national power supply. Even going further to look at what stable national grid is, it's related to the network or the infrastructure used to move the power, whether through transmission or distribution. And so it may relate to the transmission lines, conductors, transformers. The ECG manages just a subsection of this national grid. The bulk of it is managed by GridCo. So we ask, and in what capacity is the ECG talking about the stable national grid? When in its own distribution network, they complain about 630 transformers. And so we believe that the two are non-existent, and there's nothing like stable national power supply today. That is quite deceptive, and that's why we find it quite surprising and scandalous.
Right. Okay. So for the benefit of our viewers, when the expression stable national supply is used, what does that mean?
A stable national power supply means that there is supply reliability, there is consistency in the supply of power from a distributor to consumers, and that there are no outages or minimal outages. But what we are seeing today is not minimal outages, and that there's no reliable and consistent power supply. We cannot even assure ourselves of when one section of the country can have power and when another will have to lose power. We can't even tell whether one day we'll have a major brownout or a blackout of the country, since we know today that the load that you and I place on the system is far bigger than what the power that's being churned out by the producers and the transmitter. And there's a deficit. And if you don't manage the deficit of more than 500 megawatts as a distributor, and you force to distribute it to everybody, it might end up in a system shutdown. That is why we are seeing the load shedding, and that's the work of ECG to do, to manage the load.
Nana, I find something rather baffling, and it's this. Now, apart from the loss, the fact that we're told that ECG cannot even account for 30% of what it receives, which shows that you then have a deficit of some 30%. We're consistently being told by players in the industry that there is a deficit in the supply to ECG almost on a daily basis, sometimes ranging between 350 and 500 megawatts. Now, how do you have this kind of situation and say that there is a stable national supply and say that when we have outages, these outages are localized? I'm trying to understand this, trying to make sense out of this.
Randy, it doesn't, in fact, you crack your head and it still will not make any reason to you, because it defines common sense here. When you yourself complain about receiving less power from GridCo, yet you claim you have a stable power supply and that you meet the demand of consumers across the country, it is not the case. It is something that we've come to see that over the past few months, that they are using ECG to manage the situation. And it's quite deceptive. They try to be deceptive in their approach. In previous times, when we are having such challenges, because the system operator is not ECG but GridCo will first release a statement indicating the challenge upstream. and saying that because there is a challenge with the flow of, let's say, gas, or there is deficits in power generation, we are unable to meet the demand of our customers. We are sorry. And here their customers are ECG and NETCO. On the back of their statement, the ECG will come and say, reference to GRICO's challenge, we are unable to also provide power to the entire populace or consumers. For that reason, we are compelled to shed load. This is the common sense approach we've seen over the years. What is happening today? Since the beginning of the year till now, GRICO has been tight-lipped. What are they hiding? Then the ECG will come and give an excuse, which is not tenable. 630 megawatts, 630 transformers, not tenable. Stable power supply, not tenable. And I think that all this miscommunication or deception could hurt the reputation of the ECG. It must bear in mind that it is not only about consumers, but the investors are also looking at what's happening in the sector. And they will be very careful putting a penny or a dollar in our power supply system. And so we must be careful. I think that at this point, ECG must be willing to give Ghanaians a timetable to plan their life. Unfortunately, the minister in charge of the sector says that if Randy needs a timetable, he should provide one himself. If the PRC is requesting the ECG to produce one, the PRC should churn out one by itself. Also very insulting. I think that they must be forthright and straight with Ghanaians as to what is happening in the sector and assure Ghanaians how they intend to resolve the issue. I don't know whether you cited the new directive from the president.
Now, two issues here. When you listen to the ECG, the impression is created that these shortfalls in supply to them are sudden. They are not anticipated. They are not planned. And therefore, it will be difficult for them to come up with a timetable. So, for example, they just there and then, let's say as we have in this interview, they get a notice from GRICO, shared 200. On the basis of that, they are unable to give you a timetable. And then I have also realized that in the last 1 week, what we've seen is that at least I've seen two statements from the ECG where it says that GRICO says is not going to provide X, or we're not going to get X megawatts of power. And so these areas, then it gives a long stretch. Yesterday, the one I heard was from, I think, somewhere community 24 or something, all the way to Chopoli. And it says that, well, this is because there's a deficit in what we're getting from GRICO. As and when GRICO improves the supply, we would also improve your supply. And it ends there.
Randy, it is not the case that ECG receives short notice from the GRICO. I don't know even if they receive notice at all, but if you are in the sector, Randy, I can send you from the beginning of the year on daily basis how much power is being produced. From the beginning of the year up to today, we're talking about. We've done the table. We receive system condition sheets from the system operator GRICO each day. And for the ECG, it's done on hourly basis. So at least they know what's happening in the sector. And Randy, it might just surprise you to note that from the beginning of the year up to today, the system has never been able to generate anything in excess of 3,300 megawatts since the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, we have a peak demand of about 3,650, indicating a shortfall of close to 400 megawatts. It is something even the little boy in the Kunfiabor knows, because there's a data available. The ECG cannot say that we don't know what's happening in the sector. At least they could take a cue from last month last 2 months, last 3 months, knowing that each day we have a deficit of close to 400. At least use this common sense or this data to generate your timetable. Don't wait for anybody to bring you anything. You know very well that they generate something around 3,200 megawatts. Then they export about 250 to 300 megawatts. So what you are left to manage for domestic consumers is something around 2,900 megawatts, of which you need more. So shed load, that is it. For the vehicle outages they are announcing these days, the ECG is announcing, for us it is diversionary. They know exactly what's happening in this sector, and they themselves are frustrated, yet they cannot speak to the issue. They are being careful. Right? I can assure you, if you go to the desk of ECG management, you go to supervisors, and I'm sure it tells even in the statement of PUGU, their own utility workers union, they were clear in the statements that they are struggling to issue a timetable because they are not getting information from RICO. That's a lie. They have information from the data sheet. They don't need to wait for RICO. But then they are saying that they don't have enough to manage. And they were expecting that we'll stop the exports so that they have enough to distribute across the country. And so everybody is trying one way or the other, including the sector minister, to whitewash the issues.
What do we need to do as citizenry? It appears that the regulator, beyond just issuing a statement and writing to ECG, has not done much. And I'm even saying this because even when the regulator was asking for a timetable, even after they've asked for a timetable, the minister says that go and produce your own timetable if you think that you want one. What can we do under this circumstance? Look, I've had a businessman send me, just after I spoke about the issue of the gadgets in my home, I've had a businessman send me what has happened to air conditioners at his place. And he's put the things in a wheelbarrow. I'm sure that my producer can project that. This is what the businessman sent to me in Kumasi. He sent to me that it says this is what has happened to his air conditioners in the last 90 days. So that's what you see there. It says this is what has happened to him in the last 90 days. So for us as citizens, what do we do?
What we're going through currently is not just hitting people's appliances in the office and homes, but in industries, the hospitals are all struggling. And because the outages are rampant and it hits their system, what we must do as a country, Randy, we must brace ourselves for the worst. And I tell you what we are seeing today is induced by $1.5 million debt in the sector. And so I would say it's financial challenge that's bringing us this to so at this point. Meanwhile, apart from this 1.5 million, next month or this month, we'll incur additional loss. We'll add it to the 1.5. The next 2 months, we'll incur an additional one. If $1.5 million is giving us this problem.
Is it million or billion?
1.5 billion, sorry. If $1.5 billion is giving us this problem, what will $2 billion debt do to us? What will $2.5 billion do to us? And the ECG is not working as much as we expect to block the revenue leakages. That is why they cannot even, comply with the cash waterfall mechanism. And so if the debt is going to increase next month, next 2 months going forward, then the issues will be worse. And like we said, we pity the next government that will be formed. They will come and inherit a cliff. And when you fall, it's bank here. I'm sure Ghanaians must begin to look for alternative source of power because we cannot rely on the grid. It's not reliable. And they are not working to address the issue because they are not even admitting the problem. How do they work to address it? Let's go and look for other means of energy. Whether you want to restore to generator, fine. if you want to go and look for solar or other forms of energy, it is also cool. We only pray that the Energy Commission will not frustrate people that want to move away from the grid to solar in particular. And also for those who want to resort to generators. If they did the economics, some will find that even using the generator, and you can speak to the hotels, Randy, most of them, even before this so heightened, they were using generator. Then use the national grid rather as a backup because it is cheaper. We only pray that fuel price should not go up. But if fuel prices are to reduce to, let's say, 10 cedis per liter or 9 cedis, it's better you use a generator than to use the grid. And so let's resort to another forms of energy. Then we should still push the PRC to act in our interests because it must protect consumers. It is their work to do, not just the power sector players. But maybe it is time that you and I also take it up ourselves to deal with the UCG and to compel them either through the court or any other means to give us the power that we so much desire or require. Randy, you know something here? I'm sure you're a prepaid consumer.
Yes.
I'm a prepaid consumer. And so they owe me a duty. They owe me power to supply. If they are not able to meet this part of the bargain, I'm sure as a citizen or as citizens, we can also take ECG up. There's a few things we can do.
All right. Okay. Now I'm with you, the 7. Thanks for joining us. We thank you for your time, and I will call on you any other time that we need some clarification on these issues. We're most grateful for your time.
Brother Randy.
Right. Okay. All right. So we'll take a break. When we return, we'll deal with these issues and then wrap up on the District Assembly Common Fund. We're back shortly. Right, welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, the 2 honorable members of Parliament here with me on the show. But what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, I've got the Mullah, got the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the GamePad Games app on Play Store. You can also play on the website at www.gamepadgames.com or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Charlie make we play this game and make some mola. Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. GamePad Games, more mola, more power. This game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority and is not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Ayesoko, Dakosombo Dan be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. It's not for persons under 18. This is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It's indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go on, grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 or 055 001 0000. Okay, so Deputy Minister Designate.
Randy sometimes.
Randy.
Yes.
I listened to
Nana Mwesi,
Nana
the
Mwesi.
7th. Yeah.
And if your light goes off and you are in darkness, heat, and ECG releases a statement and says you have a stable electricity.
National supply.
I was just discussing with my senior. Communication. If my light goes off this morning, I could not iron. And I read that the ECG, the company that's supposed to distribute power
Yes.
after I've bought power through prepaid tells me that electricity is stable. Any human being will be angry.
But why would the ECG tell you that?
That's what I'm coming.
They must think that you are an idiot. You must be a fool.
You see, sometimes
That's what the ECG takes us for. They must think that you are an idiot. You're a fool.
sometimes I'll just plead. I'm just pleading. Communication, Randy, it's a very interesting area.
But Chief, this one is not communication.
No, Randy, I'm coming. That's what I'm saying, that it's an interesting area.
Yeah.
How you even relate the problem to the consumers is very important.
Yeah.
See, you issue a statement. You say 360 transformers are overloaded. So you are going through a certain maintenance process. Understandable. Then the Public Utilities Workers Union,
Yeah, your own
which
stuff.
includes staff
Yeah,
of
your own
ECG,
staff.
release a counter statement
To say, hey,
we
we have
as for
33,000.
the 650, it is a normal thing we do every day.
Routine.
Randy, there's a problem. Because then what it is that there's something really happening that you are not telling us. Just these two communication becomes a problem. It becomes a problem for everybody.
No, the intent. You see, for me, the first thing is that for any establishment or any person to think that irrespective of, and I always tell people that there are things that are experiential.
Yeah.
So you ought to be careful. When you are hungry, it is not me telling you that you are
Hungry.
you're not hungry. It's experiential. So I can use all manner of adjectives and everything. They say he who feels it knows it.
So you see, so your communication is very important.
No, I mean, I'm saying that for anybody to think, to even have the courage,
To write that.
when people are experiencing something which is experiential, and people can have the courage to communicate this, when they know that the public they are communicating to includes people who even know the
More
sector
than
more than them, they must either have some
Randy, I'm not this one. Even the public, your workers,
yes,
the people you work with, the ECG workers are saying that your initial communication
yes,
that we're having this problem because of 650, 330, 630 transformers cannot be the case. The staff,
yes.
I'll tell you that no. As for maintenance of transformers, it's something you and I, boss, you've been
So
telling me, so that cannot be the reason.
So that should not even
That's the point I'm making.
make you
See,
even
Randy,
think about writing.
sometimes when you tell the consumers what the problems are, you see, the consumer will accept to a certain degree
But my worry is that
why you are in a particular situation.
Honorable, my worry, what I'm trying to understand is, what is there to hide? What is anybody trying to hide? For which reason what you are talking about will happen?
That's where I have a problem.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, Randy. So ECG, you are the only distributor. You are a monopoly.
You are Nedco.
You are Netco. Of course, you are in the same group. Somebody will generate. Somebody will transmit. You distribute. You are the only person that interfaces with the customer. So in terms of payment, you are the only person who receives the cash.
Gradeco hasn't taken my money.
Yes. You are
VRA
the only
hasn't
person
taken
who
my
receives
money.
the cash.
Asogla hasn't taken my money.
Yes. And because you are the only person who receives the cash, how much you take or receive translates into the whole process. Because then once you collect, then you pay Greco, you pay the others. So if you collect less, you have a problem. When I was preparing for my vet, you talked about the system losses, 30%.
Yes.
They have technical losses and commercial losses.
Yes.
Randy, they showed me a graph.
Yes.
The technical losses are flat
Okay.
over the years, not
Yes.
just this graph, over the years. It means that particular problem, and they'll tell you that's
And
about
they know.
transformers,
They know.
changing of obsolete machines and all that. So they know.
They need some serious investment. Yeah.
Thank you. So these are how you have to inform the public that these are the kind of things we're experiencing. And so let's all push government to see how they can invest more. Because the continuous straight line of my technical losses will mean that even before I receive the power from
I'm
Greco,
running at a loss.
I'm running at a loss.
But we'll have solved this technical losses problem if you who have not misbehaved towards the issue of the PDS.
I'm coming. Let me just try it. Then you come to commercial losses. The commercial losses, Randy, the graph they showed me, keeps going up.
Yes.
Keeps going up.
Yes.
Which means clearly
Inefficiency.
the billing system and collection.
Poor.
You get the point I'm making. So what the thing that you ECG must do, the commercial losses. You must find a way of reducing the commercial losses, because that is your mandate. That is your mandate. This is how you explain the matters to the people, for the people to understand. Now you are not collecting more, so the people in the chain are not receiving. You, Gridco only will transmit
what he has.
What has been given to them through the generation.
Why will Gridco withhold power from you?
Yeah.
What do they gain?
What do they gain?
What do they gain?
What do they gain? They will not gain anything.
Yeah.
But Gridco will have a problem when the first one they gave you, you have not paid for.
it. Yeah.
So
and like they say on the street, the producers are jostling them.
Yes. You've not paid for it. And Asogli and Co are also telling them that once you've not paid for the ones we gave you, we can't give you more. Then that becomes a problem. So these are the way, this is how you communicate the issue. Then we all sit around the table and find a solution.
You see.
You have a cash water for the system. They say bring them this amount of money in, distribute it this way. What we are seeing coming in is not what is expected. What is the problem?
Diversion.
Oh, so then there's a problem somewhere.
No, because you see, Honorable, and it's good that
but Randy, but that's the reason why they can't communicate the true picture to the Ghanaian public.
Yeah, but you see, we have a PURC, which is the regulator, which should come to our aid. That's why I was asking Anamwesi those questions, because at the end of the day, if I call ECG or I go to ECG, they can decide whether they would give me information or they would even grant me audience. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So that is why, through law, we have set up institutions like this to serve our interest. That is when institutions like ECG and others are misbehaving, the way they are misbehaving.
The services.
You know.
The regulator.
But then when you have a situation where the regulator appears to be helpless beyond issuing a statement. So they've issued a statement. In the statement, for us, the public, we've read them, realized that, the PURC is on all fours with us. It has identified the issues. It's asking ECG to do something. But beyond that, what? You get me?
Penalty.
And the ECG itself, but the penalty, who is going to pay? Is it going to come from Dubik's pocket? You see, that's the thing with people who run state. You, like the RTI and those things. When the state agency refuses to provide the information and there is the fine by the RTI commission, who pays? Yes. Is it the officer's pocket or is it the same government agency which is going to pay, which therefore is our money?
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of idiocy with which we are running things in this town. You know, so look, I have made this point every day on this program, almost every day. When we say, but we've kept the lights on, I keep asking a question: at what cost? At which point is this thing going to bite us? We are compiling debts. We are compiling debts. And that is what we did with almost every other sector until DDEP hit us. And then we're faced with what we're faced. What happened with all sectors? And you know, this energy sector debt, we've tried to put them under DDEP. Yes. They have refused.
Yes.
We tried to also put them under DDEP. They've refused. Yeah. And as Honorable was explaining, and Nana Mwesi, the point he made, every single day we are compounding the debt situation. Then you come to the cash waterfall mechanism, which then says that even if you are not collecting all, let's even say that the 70% that you are collecting, we are setting aside this amount of money for ECG, for its operations. The rest, this is how we are going to distribute it. So at least every month or something, each of the IPPs is able to get something on the basis of what has been agreed. Yes, the cash waterfall. That's what I'm speaking to. The ECG even goes back after all this arrangement to say that even what you gave us is not enough. We think that we should be giving more. That is also approved. Yet we are unable to go by the cash waterfall, so that what the IPPs are even supposed to get, they are not getting.
But Randy,
and these are things that we don't want to address. And we come and talk about stable national power supply and how many 163 transformers out of 33,000.
630.
You know, and now what they tell us, the latest commission, the one I saw, if Annie can put it out there, they tell you that to Gridco. Yesterday was when I read it. Gridco has informed us that they will not be able to provide so many megawatts. So these areas. So they mention all the areas. What I heard yesterday, Pram, all those places up to Chopoli also, to Community 24. And you know what he says? when Gridco gives us the thing, we will also give you and ends it. And the stable national supply notice told us that when we have any problem with our lights, it is localized. And they've given us a number to call. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a local number too, that's fine. To call, to report the localized problems for a solution. I mean, if you do not consider us as idiots and fools, you will not issue this.
Randy, you know, I pity my brother because he's the one sitting there now. He's the one going to face all this music. Well.
It's warming up.
In 2 or 3 weeks' time, it will be done.
Okay. That's your prophecy.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks it will be done. Because I'm sure as soon as we resume, it will be one of the first issues we shall tackle. Truthfully, let me say this. In my communications class and in public relations, one thing that was cardinal in the lectures we attended was the fact that communication as a corporate institution, your communication with your customers and clientele must be truthful, must be the one that the customer can relate to. So I find it very difficult with the sort of communication ECG has been churning out for some time now. Unless they have something to
all
hide.
the don'ts in crisis communication is what they are doing.
Yes, that's the issue. And it's baffling. I get worried because, you see, it affects the credibility of the institution. And I don't know, but the board, I know that they're having crisis and somebody who's a deputy minister now being appointed to the position of a board chairman. I don't know.
No.
It's like total confusion everywhere. The president himself, I don't know whether he was not advised when he was making that appointment. I don't know whether the president was advised or not advised, because he should have known that it is not right for a deputy minister to assume board chairmanship of an institution like ECG. Maybe he intends to let him vacate his position as deputy minister, maybe. But that should have been done before being appointed to that position. But that goes to compound the problem. Because the situation we are having today is it's about the ECG not being transparent, not being truthful, not being honest with its customers and clients. And I don't know what they are hiding, but if there's something that they are hiding, that they are not being truthful to us, then it becomes very worrying. Nana Mwasi also said something that is very important. He said, for the first time in a long while, Gridco has become incommunicado. And that is also baffling, because Gridco, that we know, and I know they are fine communicators.
They have top professionals. They have top, even ECG.
Yeah.
They have top professionals.
Communications
top
yeah.
guys. So people who even teach. People who teach the communication. So it is not about the professional communicators. It's not them.
So it's about certain political interests that is preventing the right communication from coming out. And that is what I believe. Certain powers are making it difficult for the communicators to be able to discharge their responsibilities the way they will have professionally done it. And I think all of us, as customers of ECG, should begin to let them understand that they can't continue taking us for fools and idiots, as you said. Because, you see, you've rendered a service for which I pay for. It is only right that when you are unable to render that service, you tell me so that I can look for alternatives, I can look for, or I can plan my life well. And that is why the vexatious issues of timetable becomes very difficult for us to understand. My brother's boss and my friend, my very good friend, I think he spoke out of frustration, and he didn't.
He has a short fuse. He has a short fuse. That's trite knowledge.
No, but when you get to a level like this, you should be able, because You see, Randy, just as we talk about the issue of Brian, when you were talking about the sort of situations we have in the country, already Ghanaians are living in a very tense atmosphere. Everybody's life has become a bit stressful. So when you are also supposed to say things that will calm people down, that will make people appreciate the problems we are in, it becomes difficult for us to comprehend what level of emotional intelligence appointees have when it comes to this level. And that's why I'm saying I'm commending my brother for. You know, I just hope that when he's elevated from deputy minister to a minister, that monster will also not affect him. that bishi will not affect him too. You understand? Because when you meet somebody like Napo under normal circumstances, nice person. When you meet somebody like Brother Champo under normal circumstances, nice person. So you wonder why they will make such comments. It's the stress, it's the pressure of the positions they are holding that sometimes make them blow the fuse, as you said. And I don't think it's wrong. Randy, before we came to this, you were on the issue of the statutory funds.
Yes.
Sitting here as a ranking member for local government committee, which has oversight responsibility over the DACF, I get worried. Right. I get worried because, first, earlier on I've told you, consistently, the government has been robbing us, all Ghanaians, all the district assemblies, of what is due us. They don't, as I said, they don't add...
By the way they calculate the revenue.
Yes.
But they determine what is revenue.
Yes. But as we see today, even the fourth quarter of 2023, to the district assemblies have not been paid.
So there are 2 quarters outstanding.
Yes. Meanwhile, the previous years, there are so many arrears. Oh, yes. Ask my brother. We sat in parliament. We all calculated.
But when you said last quarter of last year, I thought that what you meant was that it's been paid up.
No. Even the second quarter of 2023, half of what was supposed to be paid to the district assemblies common fund was paid. Oh, yes. This issue has gotten to a level where we raised objection on the floor and the speaker demanded a tripartite meeting, local government committee, finance committee, and the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance refused.
So what's the role of the administrator in all of this?
You know, as for the administrator, once the Ministry of Finance gives her the money, she will do the onward transmission to the district assemblies.
Who determines what goes where?
The parliament. Parliament
determines
the formula.
That's the formula.
Yes.
So the administrator simply follows the formula. Okay.
She proposes the formula. Sometimes she will bring about 3 different scenarios, and then Parliament will adopt one. And then we will determine how it should go. So once she receives the money from the Ministry of Finance, she only distributes it according to the formula we have approved. So she's just like we're talking about ECG. She's supposed to be a transmission office.
A conveyor belt.
A conveyor belt. So if she doesn't receive, look, there have been situations where she has been forced by government to go and borrow. Yes.
The fund takes a loan.
Yes.
On the back of expected inflows.
To distribute to the...
At an interest rate.
Yes. And that one too has become a problem. Because Parliament has consistently been saying the interest on such loans becomes a pressure on the fund.
Yeah, of course.
Because the Minister of Finance will not absorb that interest. They will just send to you the quarter.
So the delay in releasing the fund and the practice of going to take commercial loans then encumbers the inflows further.
Yes. What it means that definitely there must be a percentage.
We are running some serious economy in Ghana.
Yes. And you see, the difficulty we have is that this Assembly's Common Fund administrator cannot openly go out and talk about these issues.
Why?
Well, you know, the office naturally, even though it has some sort of autonomy, is supervised by the Ministry of Local Government and the Office of the President.
Recently, there was a spat between her and the former minister.
Yes. So if the former minister...
I think a letter the former minister wrote to the president was even leaked.
Yes, yes. And that one has to do with one of the, you know, it's normal. parliamentary practice. Maybe, I don't know which other committee do you belong to?
Finance.
Finance.
Finance and sports.
Sports, fine. So for example, youth and sports, there's a World Cup coming up. Members of the Youth and Sports Committee automatically will get opportunity to. I will not get, unless I fight for it. The same way members of the Education Committee, after taking care of the Get Fund formula, also get some sort of support under the formula that have been approved. So we are all MPs, but a member of the Education Committee may get some sort of support, maybe educational project in his constituency, and I will not get.
Even based on his closeness to the minister.
To the minister and all those things. It happens all the time. It's been there. So members of local government committee will also get some projects under the Common Fund Administrator when other MPs will not get. But maybe he, because of the relationship he has with the administrator, he could go to the administrator and the administrator could work something out in this district. Look, we have a deprived situation, so looking at the formula, this weight situation of needs, this is a very important need. So can you look at it?
And the administrator is empowered to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So all these things come up. But you see, if there is a fluid mechanism of the transmission of the total revenue, the 5% of total revenue to the administrator, we shall never have any problem.
And a timely release.
Timely release. It will be smooth, and you see, development will go on. Right now, when you go to assemblies, Randy, some of the assemblies, the structures are there. The DCE, you will not find a DCE because of pressure. You know, the contractors are demanding their payments and all those. It becomes so difficult for the DCEs, and they are always lamenting to us at the local government committee level. And when you talk, the Minister of Finance is so, and they will try to explain in I don't know, sometimes unbelievable terms.
But it's the same with all statutory
funds.
Randy. So and sometimes.
Or you ask for you there, your district, you are fine.
No, I mean we are all members of parliament, so we all go through.
We go around, so we know the problems they are facing.
Anytime you give somebody a discretion, there's a problem.
Yes.
I always say this: the finance minister's job, basically, is to respect the budget. We've approved an appropriation. This is what we want to do. This is how you have to spend the money. When the money hits the consolidated account, and the system itself does not automatically distribute, and you give the chance to the finance minister to decide when the money should move into that particular account, there will be a problem. Because there are other needs, and that is where I have my challenge. I have always advocated.
So the finance minister then prioritizes.
I have always advocated that, Randy, the money sits at Bank of Ghana. We know the formula. At least 5% should go into a particular account.
Minimum. If the government wants to add more, it can do that.
That's fine. So the system, just as we have in the banks, the system should be able, at the end of each quarter, we know how much has come in as revenue. The system should automatically move the money to the DCF account.
Is that possible?
It should be. It should be. If indeed you want to respect the constitution. But immediately you tell the finance minister that even though the constitution says this, he decides how much should go into the account. At that particular point, if there's a particular need that he feels is more important than this, he will pay that one.
Yeah, but how can, if you automate it, how do you get money for cathedral?
Randy, we have a budget.
You are moving into very, very sleepy areas. I'm saying that to forestall all the things that we are talking about.
You know, as I interviewed Honorable Setekwe here, and I was telling him that one of the complaints I had against him was the fact that some of the laws they enacted and others is made the finance minister a super minister, you know, and that there's a lot of discretion and everything. Now, he made a point that one of the laws, the one they enacted in 2016, I don't know if it's the PFMA or something, that one came into, although it was 2016, we started implementing in 2017. So if it is about that one, he cannot be said to be. But he says that, the decision is more of cabinet, it's not him. You know, but I've heard people say that, look, if you look at the laws and everything, the finance minister is positioned in such a place that his own colleague ministers, even when they've had their approvals in parliament, must virtually go begging.
Oh yes,
He's the boss.
Or lobbying him.
You remember the Atachian's lamentation?
Yeah.
About the Minister of Finance refusing to make releases to his ministry.
Yes.
So like he said,
Randy, that's for those statutory funds.
it's
If you don't put the system in place, and it's not this government, though.
Yes.
It's he knows. He's
Yes.
been a
But
member.
now it's worse.
I'm coming.
It's worse.
I'm coming. It's not this government. I'm
Yes.
talking about it's a systemic problem.
True. No, you are
of
right.
Delays.
You are right.
Right now, there was a debate at the finance committee. The arrears he talked about, sometimes a year or two. What do? Do you write them off?
How can you write them off?
As of now,
Yes.
the money that will come in, do you think government has that money to pay that arrears and pay this year's?
Oh, so it means that this DSCF will also receive a haircut.
We will always remain in debt. Because as we speak now, I tell you, if you tell the government to pay the 2 years arrears, and it is abandoned, then okay. So we have to take a decision. At the finance committee, there was a discussion.
in fact, the finance minister is holding the DSCF for close to about 4 billion.
4 billion.
Yes.
So Randy, there's a discussion going on. The last time I remember,
So they use the money to do it.
I mean, I can't answer that 2 years ago question, but I'm saying that there's a discussion going on. I remember the chief director of the ministry raised this issue. You owe yourself. It is coming clear that you may not be able to pay that one and pay the current.
Yes.
What do?
You write off.
It's on your books
You write off.
as debt.
You
You
write
write off. So that you
Then
start on a clean sheet.
What happens to the monies that DSCF has contracted from banks?
On the basis of the expectation.
Expectation.
Okay, so yeah, you've raised a serious issue.
Yes, but
That
I don't
for,
know whether
for some of those monies that were not paid, the DSCF got approval to go and take commercial loans.
Yes.
So if you write them off, what happens to
it
the
depends. I don't
repayment
know
of those
whether the 2 years, the arrears, 2 years arrears and all that, the DACF borrowed some money for that particular one. Sometimes it's just a normal delay, maybe 2 quarters delay, but they pay this year's first quarter. That delay is still there. It doesn't mean necessarily that they borrowed some money to pay this.
But that is the dangerous thing.
Yes, but I'm saying that, no, I get the point I'm making. I'm saying that those that we know that we owe but cannot pay. Because under the PFMA Act, there's write-offs. We could decide as a country that, hey, where we are, we cannot continue to keep this in our books.
So
And
what it
it
means
shows up your debt all the time.
what it means that we've
You know.
denied the districts of their development financing.
But that's up now, for the past, the one that we owe for 2 years ago,
Yeah.
we have denied the
We have
districts
denied them.
all
So you
this
see,
while.
when the assemblies have planned and budgeted themselves that we are getting so much, so this quarter, these are the development projects we are going to do. Sometimes they even go ahead and
award contracts. Yeah, on the basis of what's expected. Yeah.
and the money doesn't come.
But Randy, to solve the problem, as I said, put the system in place, the statutory ones,
It
so
should be
that
automatic.
there's no discretion.
Okay, so how can Parliament, both of you are MPs, how can Parliament, or let me put it this way, there's a law, and here I'm talking about the Constitution and your standing orders. Does it empower Parliament to find a way of implementing this suggestion?
I should think so.
Yes.
I should think so.
Yes.
So what
I
has stopped Parliament
I should
from
think
doing
so.
something like
I
this?
should think so.
Because you see, in every Hansard, you will find the complaints about statutory funds, release of funds. And interestingly, this is something that affects every single MP.
Yeah.
Every single MP.
Because the
And
development.
every single district.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why won't at least Parliament for once be able to put this thing in place?
You see, Andy, it will depend on the sort of collaboration between the executive and the legislature. Because Parliament can
Not rather the two sides in the House.
No, because when it comes to issues about common fund, let me be frank with you, we are always unanimous.
Because it's about development,
It's about
in our
development in our
district.
districts and our constituencies.
So you're suggesting that if you decided to use your parliamentary power to institutionalize this issue of automated
the
releases.
executive will have to implement it.
No, I'm coming. If you decide to do that, you would have unanimous support.
Yes, I'm telling you. Today, if you like, let's move it, we'll have unanimous support.
And if the executive does not implement it, will Parliament be helpless
Yes, but the sort of constitution we are running, what would the Parliament
in
be able to do?
sanctioning?
Yes. But when you go to the US, they have an oversight response. They have an oversight committee that also oversees
But
the work.
you have a government assurances,
And the
which is
government
led by somebody from the government party.
well, you see, but
Government assurances is supposed to do some of these things, especially promises that are made on the floor.
Yes, the U.S. structure has an oversight committee,
yes,
which oversees
very
the work
powerful
of,
committee.
Yes, oversees the work of Parliament itself.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So they can hold Parliament, and people are sometimes prosecuted.
Yes.
For reneging on their responsibilities.
Yes.
And I think that is what we need.
But if government assurances were working very well, at the minimum, at the least, we would be able to name and shame.
Yeah.
At the least.
Yes. Randy, to be frank with you, I think that one thing that we have all not helped ourselves with, we could have taken opportunity of the structure of Parliament today to make the legislature so strong for the executive to handle. But you see, partisanship has virtually rendered Parliament, let me say, impotent.
Yes.
Partisanship. Because the structure we have today, if I thought that the majority had the opportunity to save the image and integrity of Parliament, but they missed it when they came up with a motion on Ken Ofurata. If that thing had been successful, the executive from that day will have respected Parliament and know that even though you may have MPs, like it's happening in other jurisdictions, that people belonging to the Democratic Party can hold by Biden to ransom. You understand? People within the Republican Party can hold the Republican Party of the leader of Trump to ransom. It becomes good. Recently, a conservative shadow minister got a lot of support. A conservative Labour MP got a lot of support from conservative party members to be able to, bring certain reforms, and that sparked a sort of problem between the Prime Minister Sunak and his Treasury Secretary. So those are the things we want to look at critically. And I say that the opportunity that we've had with Bagbin as a speaker and with this almost, let me say, 137 Parliament, we should have done more to make the executive have that sort of respect and responsibility towards the legislature. But we failed, and it's going to be very difficult because with this Parliament, if the executive could still run us the way they've run us, and sometimes have us at their mercy, it becomes very difficult to comprehend what a Parliament of a very one-sided majority will be like if we continue to have executive like this. So the issue of statutory funds, like my brothers is saying, we should look at it again. Maybe we should have the automatic adjustment from a situation where as soon as the money hit the account, what is supposed to be transferred to Get Fund, transferred to DACF, transferred to National Health Insurance goes. Because National Health Insurance, the last time the budget was read, they transferred only 20% of what they were supposed to transfer to the NHI. How do you expect the NHI to function effectively?
What do they use all that money for?
Randy, the Minister of Finance is the most, let me say, I don't know, but you cannot just understand. Recently, I was privileged to have served on a hard committee in Parliament together with the Honorable Joe Garte and the rest. And one revelation that came up, you have the government coming to tell us that they spent 25 billion on the financial sector cleanup exercise, and it's complete.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I can tell you for a fact that close to 15% of customers of Gold Coast Securities, whose, let me say, contributions is almost about 6.2 billion, are still not paid.
You had Mr. Jacob Kama.
Yeah, he was one of the people who came to Parliament. He came to me.
He said, he says, Obi abone brasa na. This thing, you reduce the man. He stands in front of students to say people prepare for their pension.
Yeah.
They don't want to be a burden on people. And they are preparing not just for their personal pension, but even to help society do all manner of things.
Randy,
and then we reduce them to this level.
Randy,
and when we finish to then...
Randy,
today my tree is trying to come.
Randy, I saw one of the victims, one of the affected people, Randy, former chief director of the Ministry of Energy. And then he also moved to Lands and Natural Resources. Very respected, one of the most respected civil servants. I saw him in the crowd, and I said, like, what? I said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm also affected. All throughout my life, all my savings.
Look, including a former Chief Justice. Look, people have even forgotten that just last week, after notifying the Ministry of Finance that they were coming there, these pensioner bondholders, they went there, and there was not even a director
To meet them.
to even meet them. They were told that everybody is not at the office, not on a Saturday or a Sunday, a weekday. After subjecting people who have decided to set aside something during their working life to ensure that they are not a burden on the state, not a burden on their family, not a burden on society. And then you put in place policies and things that virtually wipes away their stuff. Chasing their own money, they have to picket, they have to beg. I mean, what kind of country is this? You want people to watch these elderly persons, and they are not begging. They are not,
and be inspired.
They are not asking the state to come to their aid. They are not begging for anything. This is sacrifices that they have made and set things aside. And you do this to, and you do not even have the respect. The previous time, the minister lied to them. The minister of state lied to them. The deputy minister lied to them. Now we didn't even have anybody else to lie to them.
So everybody was our.
Yes.
Well,
why do we do this?
I hope that Amin Anta will be better. I just hope that he will be better. Because having come from the civil society, possibly he will have that sort of, let me say, temperament that relates to ordinary people outside.
Chile na kita.
Do you understand what he said?
That's cool.
I'm not the energy ministry, sir. I'm not the
You only understand energy.
He said even the let me use they say Bonsunugra and Juano na am I
stable national suppliers. Anyway, so thanks gentlemen for joining me. And up next, GMG Trends. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Time to check out what is trending on social media with Desi. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
We're back here, 3rd April. So, a lot of this trending on Twitter. But let's begin actually with the whole situation of the Babu Wolomo situation. Now, the administrator to the Nungwa Traditional Council, those who are putting together the whole thing, Reverend JC. Yesterday there was a press conference. Reverend JC Vex. Reverend said they will deal with the police. Oh yes. Says as the young girls in the police custody, if anything happens to her, they will deal with the police. And people are saying, hey Reverend, okay. Anyway, so let's watch the press conference and what exactly Reverend JC had to say.
From the police that the young lady who is our queen is under police protection. Therefore, if the police have remarked that she is under police protection, where again do you want to find her? But we are telling the world that she is our lawyer. And if the police are saying they are taking care of her, then the police must be reminded that whatever happens to her, then traditionally we will deal with the police.
Okay, so that's Reverend JC there. He says that if anything happens to their queen in there, they'll deal with the police. Now, yesterday, even on the bulletin, I spoke to lawyer Martin. We spoke to also Honorable Francis Xavier Susu has talked, and a lot of statements have been coming. And yesterday also we spoke to the chieftaincy minister who had his bit on the particular situation. Now the age of the girl is moving, like I say, a course runner back for 12, 13, 16, 15, different stories altogether. But Doc, moving on with this, I've been thinking about how this could be like a landmark learning curve for issues like this.
There's clearly, in my view, a conflict between the law.
Okay.
If you even look at the Children's Act, the law, and then a customary practice. And a customary practice which appears to be prevalent in many parts of Ghana. Like I said yesterday, is the Nungwa one which has brought the issues to the fore or to the front burner for discussion. But if you ask around, you read around, you'd realize that this is something that, whether it is about marriage to the gods or a god or betrothal, it is something which is widespread. And it appears that when you read at least the Children's Act, the Act clearly makes, whether it is a betrothal or is a marriage to the gods or a fetish priest, illegal.
Okay.
Especially looking at the age of the person, if the person is not up to 18.
18 years.
So there clearly is a conflict between a practice. You see, whether the practice is accepted or not by the people, there appears to be that conflict. How do we deal with it? For me, that's what we are confronted with.
That's what we need to,
Yes.
Anyway, during the coming days, a lot of that will be coming through. We'll see what that would pan out. But Scholarship Secretariat is in the news after a report by the Fourth Estate that a number of high-profile people, including Uncle Freddie Blay, and a number of people are taking scholarships for the needy. So a lot of people have been sharing their thoughts on Twitter also. This one says that the scholarship scheme has been a way to reward party faithfuls and friends. And this one says, if the well-to-do aren't taking advantage of schemes meant for people from low-income background, they are making it more difficult for generational wealth to be created. The inequality gap would only keep getting wider. Godwin writing that on Twitter. And this one says that daughter of GNPC board chair, nephew of Ovoriata, daughter of former IGP, Samira Bomia PE, NSS boss, all benefited from this road. Scholarship for the needy is now for the rich. Kwame Nkrumah will cry wherever he is. Now, Benjamin Kessie says that, is anyone actually surprised? I'm definitely not. For ages now, Ghana Scholarship Secretariat has become a politically affiliated reward scheme used to reward those close to power for simply being part of the political class. So those are some of the comments people are sharing. And also people are sharing actually the experiences with the Secretariat where, they applied, they got, and were asked to pay some money and, all of these things. So that one today, in the trends this morning, people are writing things. People who are not needy, like.
You see, any process which is not objective but subjective lends itself to these things. And I've often said that, look, Ghana's biggest problem is greed, really. It's greed.
Yeah.
Yes. So you always want to look at what was the objective for setting up some of these things. Yeah. You understand me? Is the objective met by some of these happenings? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Ghana we did.
It's just great. I mean, the fact that you have access. I mean, you do not really care if this is something that you could pay because you have access and you can get it free. Take it, even if it's depriving some other person or persons the opportunity. People who are actually needy. I mean, people for who the thing was set up.
Was set up for.
You know, that's why I asked the first question, the basic question is, what was the objective of the scholarship?
But what defines the need, though?
There must be a criteria. There must be.
Anyway, so that's also coming up in the trends today, and a lot of people are talking about
There must be, because so for example, some of the things, if somebody wants to go and do a 2-week program, 4-week program, 6-week program at an Ivy League school, and then you're going to spend money that perhaps will pay for the bachelor's or master's program for somebody brilliant but needy who needs that skill. One of the bigger issues that has also come up is whether some of these courses are not even courses that are offered in Ghanaian universities. Sometimes people it's just the prestige.
Just Abrochi, you know.
Yes, I'm going to an Abrochi school. But for some of those programs, they are run by Ghanaian universities.
Yeah.
If you decide that a program is run by a Ghanaian university, but you still want an Abrochi certificate, must it be at the expense of the taxpayer? Must it be at the expense of somebody who's needy, who wants to do a program that is not being run here? You know, those are some of the questions that we must begin to ask and find answers to.
Okay, so that's...
But the bottom line is our level of greed. That's the bottom line.
That one today. So, I mean, that's also in the trends today. Now, I just don't know, about 16... I mean, yesterday when we spoke to Bassett, he said, that's our correspondent in the region, he said about 10 people saying that they are going to be filing.
I've seen a story which suggests that the Honorable Sechemen Sabonsu has had closed-door meetings with many of the aspirants, and that the list is reduced to 4 or so.
Oh.
Yes, it's here. NPP trims aspirants for a Jesus seat as nearly 18 show interest. So it says that some of the potential aspirants have been in a closed-door meeting with former majority leader Sechemen Sabonsu, who's handling the issue on behalf of the party. And they will open the nominations on Monday. Or they open on Monday.
Yeah, you open.
So it's quoted as saying that you are aware that the GC will go to the polls soon. 18 aspirants or so were lacing their boots to vie for the seat. The party's leadership, after careful observation, tasked me to work on this. I invited some of them here yesterday. So that's Saturday, last Saturday.
Okay.
We talked for a while and some of them decided not to contest again. I then asked who among them should be considered. They then mentioned the names of about 4 aspirants. Then we had to go behind the curtains. After careful deliberations, we realized some people were in the lead. So we spoke to them. As they open nominations, I know there will be God's miracle. Things will calm down.
Miracle worker. You want a miracle worker.
As if there won't be a lot more important things for God to
be
exercise His miracles on.
But I just on part of his left pound.
Oh yeah, it's right by the main road.
By the railroad. He didn't be wrong. So
Kumasi, yeah, when you were on your way there.
When you were on your way to Kumasi.
When you were on your way there.
When everybody is going to Kumasi, it's on the right.
When you were going to see Emanuela, you saw it to your right. When you were returning from Emanuela, you saw it to your left.
Yeah, so you know where this is going.
What is that, Jay? Is that her last name?
No. Anyway, I said I was going to share.
I'm trying to help you.
Yes.
Because I know you're under a lot of pressure, so I'm trying to help you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. You're welcome. You're always welcome.
Anyway, the president was celebrating at Rock City. Hi, the president. We Nasser off. Was on our VVIP, so he's at the top.
Okay.
And
did you see the pimpiness? Oh, you are not tagged me.
This one here. It was like now white and
yeah, I didn't tag
yeah, so like say why? What song was it when they play so that we give us the song? So Samir was performing at the Rock City Hotel when the president was giving us some moves there. But nobody about it, you know. I saw time obiani movement. Baumia, obiani movement. Oh yeah, Alan, obiani movement. Obi a mate, obi a driver, obiani.
That was a song.
That be by the tune. As obiani movement too.
The Aplanke edition of the song.
Alright guys, so that's it for the trends this morning, and the rest of it is football, EPL stuff that took place yesterday, and bongo ideas. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it.
He started writing again.
Oh, he did do interview for somewhere. The interview finally came up.
Oh, he's granted an interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he did.
About what happened to him?
Yeah, about what happened. Yeah,
So he's done with the interview. It's out there.
It was done this one. I'm sure it's still on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, on that note.
But he's fine. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Now you wear nose mask then. It means one person be winning anymore.
All right.
Yeah. If you watched Good Evening Ghana last week, you'd know what I'm talking about. You know, so. Anyway.
Well, he was on Good Evening Ghana.
No, there was an analysis on him.
Hey.
So, on that note, Doctor, ask me further questions. I've closed my segment. My name is the Star Boy.
Enjoy the midweek. Up next, Metro Sports.
The energy sector, the current power cuts. Some people are saying that you made mention of this. You use this as a campaign against John Mahama, and now we are experiencing a worse situation under President Akufo-Addo. Would it reflect in the 2024 election? Would it be something that people will stand on to vote?
If you are comparing 4 years, MPP administration energy sector is 300 times better than John Mahama.
But we are still experiencing doom so.
Nobody has said we haven't. I'm just saying it's far much better than John Mahama ever did.
You do admit that there's doom so.
That is the word you used. I have never used that word. I've promised you that we are going to work on it. And it's not a work that is a single event. It's a process. And we'll continue to work on it for the energy sector to become better.
Have you heard of calls for a timetable?
Ask those who want it to bring it.
They should bring the timetable.
If there is, I haven't seen any timetable. So when
people are calling for it.
Say bring a timetable. What do you mean? The ECG says that there's no timetable coming.
Under my tenure as president, our challenges in the power sector became so severe. I accepted the responsibility and took some bold decisions to provide a sustainable solution to the problem. I did not throw my hands in the air in despair and blame my predecessors for the crisis. When the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia MPP government took over, they have disingenuously tried to take credit for the work that was done in the power sector. And they rather blamed my administration for investing in excess capacity. Today, the country has been plunged into darkness. Mismanagement of our generating assets and collateralization of the ESLA, which was meant to provide the resources to finance current and legacy debt, has led us back into doomsday. The best government can do is to eat humble pie, take responsibility for the problem, and work to address it. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I'm aware that businesses and households cannot plan because of the erratic power situation. When citizens demanded for a schedule to enable them plan, which is the least that a responsible government should be doing, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who was one of the frontline participants in the Doomso Must Stop campaign while in opposition, is reported to have said that those asking for a load shedding timetable wish ill for the country and they should publish their own schedule. This is most disrespectful to Ghanaians and the customers of electric power.